Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Quantum Leap Futures Morning Leap session for Thursday, February the 15th, 2018. My name is Doug McKay. I'm the founder of Quantum Leap Futures. Each morning we get together in these live go-to sessions to take a look at the market, macro to micro, take a look at the structure of the market, and drill down to our trade levels, our targets, and our hypotheses. Our hypotheses are our trade plans. We do create multiple trade plans. Nobody can tell you what the market's going to do. We basically look at what the normal auction would look like based on who's in control, and then develop a hypothesis for that. We create two main hypotheses, and then we create two expanded hypotheses. Yesterday was a good example of using an expanded hypothesis as Hypo 3 kicked in. So just let me get the particulars out of the way. This is a live trade room. If you're interested in checking it out, we do these pre-market sessions, then we do live trading and analysis during the course of the trading day. Send me an email at quantumleapfutures@gmail.com, and I'll give you an invite to the room. You can come and sit in with us for a couple days, see what we do. There's also, I don't know, over 700 days, I believe, of these YouTube videos, so you can go to my YouTube channel and take a look at that and see that we do this process each day. Please read through the disclaimer. Nobody at Quantum Leap is a certified trading advisor. We are retail traders operating within a self-organized learning environment. Past performance is not indicative of future results of any trades that you see in Quantum are for education purposes only. Please trade your own due diligence, your own trade plan, and your own risk metrics. So yesterday, because of that big down move we made on the news, I mean, we had a 49.75 point move. I had a 50-50 weight on my Hypo 1 and Hypo 2, and I was really looking for us to trade back and forth between the two distributions of the double distribution, or get stuck here inside of this wick. But my Hypo 3 was an open auction in range, failure to take out the overnight low, and then rotate up through the LVN at that 53 to 56 area, and then push up, test the upper side of yesterday's, and continue up towards the year open, which is at 26.75, and the overnight high at 78, and we had that extended target up at 27.0250, which was the 50% retracement of this whole move down. We didn't quite get there. We only got to 27.0175. This is a trend day. Multiple distributions, thin profile, closing at the high, VPOC shifting it up to the high. We are looking for continuation into the Globex, and that's what we got. In the Globex so far, we opened right around the VPOC. We came down to test the LVN of the two upper distributions, and then they broke out and got above the 27.0175 and continued up, and we come up as high as the Globex high at 1950, and then we come back and we're accepting value higher here at the 27.0750. In fact, even the news with the jobless claims coming out a little bit worse than expected didn't really sell this market off. So the bid's back on, the buyers are back in control. Inventory overnight is about 90% net long in time and value and volume. So look for them to rebalance on the open. But before we get into the hypos, let's just take a look at the news. Where'd my news go? Sorry, hold on a second. I closed my news down unexpectedly. All right, so at 8:30 we had The continuing jobless claims, they came out higher than expected. It wasn't terrible. Core PPI came out a little bit better than expected. Initial jobless claims came out as expected. Um, New York Empire State Manufacturing came out weaker. Philly Fed came out a little bit higher than expected. So it was kind of a mixed bag of news. PPI came out as expected, and ADP non-farm employment change came out larger, than expected. In 20 minutes, we've got the capacity utilization rate and industrial production, and manufacturing production. And then 49 minutes from now, Bloomberg consumer confidence. And then 10 o'clock is the NAHB and NAHB, and then natural gas comes out at 10:30. And then we've got the 30-year tips at 1 o'clock, and the Bank of Canada governor speaking at 1:30. And basically that's about it for the news today. I don't know if it's a long weekend in the U.S., but it's a long weekend here. So I'm curious whether the volume is going to start dropping off. Taking a look at the macro, I always like to start my day with the same routine. I go to a simple candlestick chart. I use a 9 EMA and a 20 SMA. And what I'm doing with this is I'm looking at the different time frames where we are within the trend. Are we testing the trend or challenging it by testing the 9 EMA? Or are we violating it and possibly changing the trend by breaking the 20 SMA? You can see on the monthly, we had 14 months of one time framing up. We did come down and challenge the trend on the monthly. Our month range, believe it or not, is huge, 308.25 points. But we did not violate the trend. The overall trend is still up, and there's still a lot of repair work. And remember, we have those two unequalized highs. We have the Globex unequalized high at 28.75.50, and we have the RTH all-time high at 28.75.75. And those is very rare. It's a high probability that gets tested in the RTH. Now, we did have a big move, so I'm not expecting a move up there right away, but we're likely going to grind and chop. And as long as we continue the trend up on the monthly, continuing to work our way up. Going to the weekly, you can see that we did come down and we were breaking below the 9 and the 20 and looking at a possible trend. So far, yesterday and today, they're taking it back, and we're now coming up and testing the 9. So watch this 22.75. That's going to be a key level if we're going to get the continuation up towards the 61.8 retracement of this whole move down, which is up at the 44. I'll show you that in just a minute. Going to the daily. The daily, we had started to see a downward trend with slope and separation, and we were failing to get back above the 9, but now we are above the 9, coming up to test the 20. That's the next big resistance up there at the 27.60 area. But we are, trying to hold. So watch the other level to the downside to watch is to watch this 26.80, 850 area. And I'll show you why as well when we get to the composite. Going to the 4-hour, you can see that we talked about this yesterday, that we were consolidating on the smaller time frames, and now we're getting slope and separation to the upside, and above the 9 and the 20. And a move to test the 9 will take us back down to the 97.75. And remember that our VPOC from yesterday shifted up there to the 26.97.75. I mean, the correlations, I don't make them up. Going to the 30-minute, you see that, we're right now trying to struggle to hold above the 9 and the 20. We did leave a naked cross down here at the 69.50, so I'm going to be watching that 97 level, the VPOC from yesterday, and then that 88. And if we fail to hold that 88.50 area, I'm going to be targeting this naked cross down here, down at the 68.75, 69. I'm sorry, 69 and a quarter. But I don't know if it's going to happen. That's why I have my levels to guide me and look to see what the possibilities are. Going to the structure. Okay, so you can see that we added this larger microcomposite from the high down to the breakout day back on October the 2nd. Our microcomposite VPOC on the larger time frame is down here at the 25.81 and a quarter. That's going to be a target below that 88.50. You can see that the retracement, this 27.02.50 was the 50% retracement. The 61% retracement is up here at the 43 area, and you can see, I know it's pretty crowded because of the scale, because of our average true range. Can you believe that our average true range, our full session average true range daily is running right now at 57.74? Not 60 days ago, it was down below 10. So we got huge expansion. But the 61.8 retracement of this big down move is up here, and you can see it's sitting right on top of this microcomposite, this 5-day microcomposite at the 46.75 area. It's actually 43.75, but I'd be targeting this area right here. I said there's a lot of repair work to do. There's a lot of repair work up here. We moved through it way too quickly. No determined fair value in this area. So if we can hold above this current microcomposite value area, if we break out above the 27.09, this is the is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-day microcomposite value area high. If we can get above that, then we're likely to, I'm sorry, it's the 27.09.50. If we can get hold above that, then we go back into price discovery, and I'll be targeting first the 26 area and then the 46.50 area. The 3-day, and I talk about this a lot, is accepting value higher. Our microcomposite, the longer time frame microcomposites down in the 25.81. Then the 9-day is right here at the 26.43.50, and now the 3-day microcomposite is up here at the 26.62. We're accepting value higher. We've broken out of yesterday's breakout day. We broke out of the value area for the last 3 days, and we're coming up and breaking out of the 10-day value. So we're going to open with a gap up today, and I'm expecting to see some responsive selling down towards the 2700 and see how they handle that. If not, see if they break below yesterday's VPOC at the 26.9775 as a clue. So moving our numbers over from overnight, our overnight high is at 1950. Our overnight low is at 93.50. Our VPOC currently, and I doubt it's going to shift, is at 27.07 and a quarter. Our current gap right now, if we open right here, let's say we open at 27.14 area, and our close yesterday was 26.96.75. Our approximate half gap fill is going to be 27.05, 05 and a quarter. And again, I'll have to adjust this on the open, but I just want to get it set up. It's not going to move too much. Okay, and we've got a very toothy profile. There's really not much to go by other than this LVN right here and this LVN right here, and those are levels that I'm already paying attention to. So I'm not going to bother you know looking at some of this other. I am going to watch this one right here at the 1650. Because if we get above that, then I'm looking for a move into the overnight high. And that's going to do it for that. In terms of the longer time frame, I'm watching the 0950. And I'm watching the 2026 as a target. And just get this out of the way for a minute. And that 2775. And then targeting the 41 and the 40, 44, 43 area. Below us, obviously, the range high and from yesterday for a move down to the 97. Then there's an LVN down here at the 95.50, targeting the overnight low and the 92.25. The HVN from the second distribution, and then obviously this is going to be my key line in the sand. I'm actually going to use just below the 88.50. I'm going to use the 86, the start of this LVN zone, for a move down and a move back towards the year open at 26.75, and then the midpoint from yesterday and where the VPOC was for most of the day, and then targeting that 67.50. And again, I'm just putting the trade levels in. Our range is so huge. We could expand, continue to get big, huge ranges. Taking a look at the overnight session and setting up our ATRs, 2693.50. 20 period full session 57.74. Our upside daily ATR target is 27.51. And the key to understanding this is we have range capabilities right now without getting into expansion of the 20 period daily average to range all the way up to 51. So all those areas above are still within range for us. To the downside, 27.19.50 minus the 57.74 takes us down to 26.61.75. Okay, so let's talk about our hypotheses and trade plans. We are going to gap up. It is a large gap. So gap rules are in effect. There's a 86, between 80. I have to pull up the stat, but I think it's between 81 and 86% probability that we do not close this gap because it's above 15 points. So I'll pull that up later and put it in the live trade room. So in terms of gap rules, we have to be cognizant of the possibility of an open drive or an open test drive. So if the buyers take control early, just do not try to fade any impulse wave up right now. Because you're likely to have to take some with the average rotations. If you take a look at the rotations right now, the average rotations are running at 7.75 point, 9 up and 6.5 down, and that's in the Globex. Yesterday they were running at 9.25, so close to 10. They've been averaging around 10 lately in terms of range. So you can get hurt very quickly if you get stubborn, especially if we see one of those 20 point rotations. So in terms of the hypo one, I'm looking at a open auction out of range. I'm looking for responsive selling down towards the overnight VPOC and the half gap fill. And then I'm going to be watching how they handle this 2705 area, and somewhere between that and the range high from yesterday, I'm looking for buyers to step in and start working our way back up, and probably getting a balance day up here, in the 2709, 2710 area, and chopping as we re-auction this area now that we're back in it, that needs to be repaired. That is hypo 1. Hypo 2, the target on hypo 1, by the way, is the 1950 overall, but I expect to settle out somewhere around the 2710 area. Hypo 2 is actually going to be an open drive or an open test drive. So I'm looking for buyers to take control very early and push up into that overnight high, chop around here, and then push up again towards that 26 target, and possibly push up into the 4150 if we get another trend day, another take back day. Hypo 3 is going to be an open auction out of range, a push up into the overnight high, break the overnight high, and somewhere between there and the 2775, find responsive sellers and rotate us back down and come down into the upper distribution from yesterday, and basically fight the 2700 area. So that is hypo 3. Hypo 4 is a failure to take out the overnight high, come down into the 2697 area, chop in here, and then fail and come back down and come back into the balance area, down here around the 26.72 and possibly even push down back towards the microcomposite VPOC, which is down at that 43.50. But basically a breakdown day or a take back day from yesterday. So I don't know which ones are going to play out. I've got my levels to give me clues, and wait and be patient today, and then execute the plan that best suits what the market's doing. That's going to complete our pre-market session. As always, trade well, trade safe, and we'll catch you on the flip side.